Panic, Then Process podcast, where we find ourselves somewhere between clinical and chaotic, sharing lessons that we didn't learn in our academic textbooks.
We're two MACP Yorkville graduates giving their take on the program, practicum, and all things therapy.
I'm Izzy.
And I'm Karen, and this is Panic, Then Process. And that's how we roll. That's okay.
Amen to
Okay, I
that.
think we're recording. Did it come up for you? Yes,
Yeah,
we
it did.
are.
It made a little
Okay.
noise. So
Hey, awesome.
let's let's tell
Let's
the
rock
folks
and
what they're
roll.
what they're here for.
Yeah.
Hi
Yahoo.
everyone who's
Hello.
listening in.
Welcome
I
back.
don't know where you're gonna slice that in order for that to be make sense. Maybe just right from
We'll
the get-go.
figure it
They'll get
out.
the right from the beginning. Hello everyone. We are recording on Tuesday, St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day.
Karen is docked. Is that the word?
Sure, I don't know.
Docked out?
Docked,
No,
jacked,
no.
decked. I'm decked
Decked.
out.
That's it. He's
Yes.
decked out. And
We
I
had a
came with this wild mug, for those who can see it, that is literally just me in bunny form. It's very chaotic. So this is the energy that we're bringing to this Tuesday.
chaos.
Um,
Chaos is how most of us roll, I think, really in the world, if you're really honest, right? Beautiful, fun, fabulous, crazy
chaos.
chaos. And we just make it work and it's good. And
And I
those are my
mean,
peeps. So it's good.
March break. Do you have March break? Is that a silly question?
We do. We have spring break, but not until I think it's the end of March, beginning of April this year here
Okay,
for
so
us.
Ontario is doing the March break thing right now. So
Oh,
lots of parents home with kiddos or not. Maybe kiddos are just, I don't know.
just at
Mine's
home.
a daycare, so she's still
Yeah.
going every day. But so that adds to the chaos, I'm sure. And Karen, you and I were like, what episode is this? And we can't even tell you. So if you're wondering, hey, how many episodes is this? I have no idea. Maybe 8, maybe 9, maybe 10, maybe 7. No
We'll
idea.
see. I think it's 9. We'll
And
go with 9.
sure. And we wanted to chat about
Mm.
navigating practicum placement.
Dun dun dun. Yes, navigating practicum placement. That's a big one in the
Uh,
MACP program, in any kind of counseling psychology program, for sure.
it,
Absolutely.
for so many reasons, right? One, particularly from the Yorkville perspective, there is a lot of anticipation
Mm.
about what it looks like to get and secure a practicum placement.
Secure being the operative word. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I often find that you're going through the Facebook groups or what have you, and there's a lot of like that anticipation, like concern about, oh my gosh, am I gonna get it? Right. So many people talk about how hard it is to get this practicum placement. Did you experience that?
Yeah, I'm kind of I think I've heard of this concept of a type C person.
Oh, tell me
Yeah.
more.
Now I'll probably mess this up because I can't remember exactly how it worked, but it's like
Mm,
type A and type B mixed together if you're type C or something. So people,
mm,
if you know this, correct me if I'm wrong, let us know.
mm-hmm,
But so I can be really, really type A about things and other things I'm like not. Like let it be, it'll figure itself out because you got to pick
mm,
your battles. So with practicum, I was kind of like that, but I was very, very concerned
mm,
because where I'm at, I wanted to have a virtual practicum
mm,
experience so I could make it work with my job and my kids' schedules as well. And so
mm-hmm,
that was stressful trying to find a virtual placement and get all the ducks in a row to do that because ours ended up being in Ontario. So then we had to go through the process of registering with the CRPO as well,
mm-hmm.
which people don't have to do if they're not going to be doing their practicum in Ontario. So just all of that stuff, right? Trying to make sure you're on the deadlines, and that it's secured and that it works for your life is a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Yeah. How about you?
Um, well, let me say this first. Let me ask you this first before I tell you my experience, which I think I've alluded to in past podcasts. But did you always anticipate registering with the CRPO or wanting a virtual site and it to mesh with your life? It just was inevitable at that point that you were like, oh, I'll register and this will make sense for me.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily Ontario specifically that I
Hmm.
thought um would be where I would register with. I wanted to do a virtual one. I knew that that would work best with my life currently. Although I
Mhm.
did apply to like the cities around where I live, but they're like an hour away. So still it's not ideal necessarily with my kiddos' activities in school.
Mm,
So um I kind of figured I'd have to. And honestly, I thought I'd be kind of moving more towards BC because in Alberta, there's a lot of practitioners who are registered in BC as well.
mm.
There's kind of a lot of overlap with people living like cross-borderly around mountain towns and whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought. So CRPO was kind of a surprise, but there's a lot of virtual work in Ontario.
Yes.
Yeah. How about
Yes.
you?
And I've heard that. Yeah. I think I shared, I remember, maybe I didn't. I don't know. I set out to find my practicum placement like a good year before because among those on Facebook was very like, oh my gosh, like what if I don't get like I kind of had this feeling like it was gonna work out, but there was this like really wanting to like optimally connect with the organization that I was with, like really wanted to be intentional about who I connected with. So I started my search fairly early, got connected with a placement that I thought was going to be a wonderful fit of like who I wanted to be as a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think what happened is that they found out that I was pregnant and then dropped me. Um, and that I would be doing like my practicum postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't actually know. She said she was restructuring and that I wasn't the only one that she was like not able to accommodate for practicum anymore. And this was like a couple months before the deadline. So this was now like I had couple months before I was starting practicum. Like I feel like Eliza was born. So I had 8 weeks between my daughter being born.
Stressful.
Yeah. And then the start of practicum. And I think it was like, she was like 2 weeks old. And I was meeting with her and she's like, yeah, like I'm restructuring and I'm not going to be able to accommodate your practicum in September. And so I had to then pivot and find something else. So your question was I anticipating finding a placement? And yes, um, definitely in that I have 2 months to figure this out.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah.
So how did you go about? So for those of our listeners who are going about, hi, you're
I
back. Did you
Hey, listen to me, Karen. I was gonna interrupt you before you started talking. I can't see you and I can't see myself, and this is the weirdest way to record a podcast. Maybe this is how like OG podcasts were done. Because I've somehow it says playing picture in picture, which means I've opened it up in another website or another screen and I can't find it. I have no idea. I can't see you. It's not
Oh,
registering.
I
And
can
like
see you.
short of like leaving and coming back, I was like, maybe I'll just like very discreetly turn off and turn on my video to see if it'll work. Okay, I cannot see you.
Oh.
So if you're like nodding along, like engaging like we normally do, I can't see anything. So
Oh, okay. Do you want to pop
technology.
off and pop on?
Not really, because maybe.
I can edit it too.
All right, I'm gonna
Okay.
pop off. I'll
Wave
be right back.
arms. Okay.
Okay.
Wave arms.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
We're back.
Hey, can you see us?
Uh-huh.
Yay! Okay, awesome. All right. Ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Wave arms so we know where to go. Yay! Hello everybody. We're waving because that's how we edit in our world here. So, Izzy's back. Excellent. We can see you. You can see us.
Much better. Felt like
Fabulous.
I was talking to nobody. That was so weird.
That's lonely. Yeah, it's
If
not
you guys were
good.
wondering what was wrong with me for the first little while, that's what it was. And I'm back.
Excellent.
And so I think I was saying,
So we were talking about how your experience in that short time frame when you had to
mhm,
find another practicum placement. So I was asking for those of our listeners who may have had to do that or are worried about that happening,
yeah,
how did you handle that? How did you find another placement in that short of a time frame? What did you
yeah,
do?
great question. I went straight to the Facebook,
Mm, the
as
Facebooks.
many of us do. We go straight to the Facebook group, and I posted and I said, hey, practicum placement fell out. Ideally wanting to start in September. Is there anyone who's still accepting, anyone who's still, available to take on practicum students? And I also did a lot of like behind the scenes, like mind work that ultimately radical acceptance, like I can't change the situation of this practicum placement that needed to drop me. If it ends up that I start in January, like not ideal, not exactly what I had planned, but ultimately, what would those 4 months do? I'm still going to get to what I want to get to. So I had to do a lot of like mind work
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful
behind
though.
the
Yeah.
scenes,
Hmm.
um, which I think really helped navigate that period for
Yeah,
myself and like my mental
absolutely.
health of it because I was pretty upset and also freshly postpartum because my hormones were like all over the place.
Oh
And
my
so it
goodness.
was really
Hmm.
difficult. And it felt like the universe was telling me that I couldn't do both. I couldn't be a mom and I couldn't finish my master's.
Yeah.
And ultimately it worked out.
Yay.
Yay. So someone had
And
messaged me and we met.
yes, that's what I was going to
I
say. And we
know.
met a fabulous group of people. So,
I
yes.
know. And this is like the silver lining to the practicum.
Yeah.
Like, this is really, and I think we've talked about this before, like, find your people, like, connect with people who are in similar stages of you. I work in a clinic right now in person, and there's two practicum students, Yorkville students, who are doing their practicum right now. And I don't connect with them all the time, but whenever I see them, I'm always like, hey, like, if you want to chat, if you want, like, let's do that because
Yeah.
I didn't have that connection until I built it myself. And
Hmm.
so if you have the opportunity to connect with people in the workforce already, doing this work already, or those of us like coming up, like be vulnerable, reach out. They might not end up being your people and that's okay, but they might. And like
Yeah.
how beautiful to have that support.
Yeah. So I love that. And I think it really speaks to another really important point. That's a bit of a side quest here, so I won't go too far onto it. But it's really important that if you can, if you're at a place where you can, after your practicum placement or even during it, that you be the kind of person, mentor, colleague, practicum placement co-person that
Mm-hmm.
you need, that you want to be, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about speaking with the interns that are at your place, right? Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're doing that. Reach out, be the person that you needed during
Mm-hmm.
practicum, even if you didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because we all know or will know how intense practicum can be. We all know how intense the Yorkville program and any master's program can be. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's so important that we reach out, even just that little bit, going, hey, I see you. This is a lot, and you're doing a fabulous job. And it does end. You're doing great. It can be
Yeah.
so just uplifting again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my
Yeah.
side quest digress. Here we go.
I love it. I love it. I'm right there with you.
Hmm.
Um, and this brings us to the culture of picking
Hmm.
a practicum placement. So,
Yeah.
and so I want to really like validate the fact that a lot of us, particularly Yorkville, but I'm certain this speaks to many master's programs, feel a pressure to get the practicum placement, right? There's a lot of conversation about how Yorkville is just pumping out therapists, and whether you agree or disagree with that, and whatever that means to you, there does seem to be a high stress of is there enough placements out there to accommodate my practicum? Like, will someone take me on to be able to finish my education that I've invested time, money, energy into to actually get to the other side and get to do what I want to do? Let's just validate that stress as
Yes.
we have kind of noted on.
Huge.
And also, the flip side of that is if you have to endure a practicum for 8 months that you do not resonate with, your values are not aligned, there is more negativity than there is support, positivity, learning, it will be difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you hear this a lot in our communities, right? A lot
Mm-hmm.
about how some practicum placements are more business focused. Some of them who maybe aren't as business focused may not be able to get you as many clients. And
Mm-hmm.
so then you're looking at having to do the extension. And now, to my understanding, it's costing more to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So
Or
there's
other
lots of
sites. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
considerations. Yeah, having to get a secondary site. There are a lot of considerations. and deciding for yourself and knowing your own value
Mm,
as you move into this phase, I think is really important.
mhm. Absolutely. I love that you touched on that. I think it can be such a terrifying thing when we're looking for these places and applying because we realize that it is 8 months and we're there. And I mean, there are certain avenues you can take if it's not, something where it's very negative for you, for
Sure.
example. However, for most of us, we're there for the 8 months.
Yeah.
And so, and we're really wanting to learn and be
Hmm.
finished in the 8 months. So it's a massive leap of faith in a way to be able to just jump in and say, okay, we're going to do this. And in the end, honestly, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Hmm.
Now, as you mentioned, there are things we can do to hopefully, pick a place that aligns with us. So, absolutely values. How do you want to practice? What's
Hmm.
really important to you in the therapy room? Are there any kind of modalities that really resonate with you the most? If you're a
Hmm.
CBT therapist and you really love that, there are places that do strictly CBT or a lot of CBT. If you are more psychodynamic, same type of thing, right? So, or somatic. So, I think it's really important to kind of feel into that gut feeling about what you like with that and
Hmm.
try and find a spot, which can be tricky because when we're still in school or even new, we're still kind of figuring out where we want to be, what we like.
Totally.
So, as best as you can, I guess.
And you know what's so funny as you're saying that? Because as in my head, I'm thinking similarly, if you have no idea, know that no matter what you're walking into, you're going to learn if you like it or you don't.
100%. And you're going to learn a
Like,
ton. Hmm.
yeah. So for me, as I said, like I was kind of a short turnaround. And so I was just looking for a placement, right? At this point, I didn't feel like I could be picky. If I
Hmm.
would go back in time, I probably would have thought more about it and been more intentional that second
Hmm.
time around having to choose. However, I learned a lot. The clinic that we worked for was very CBT, DBT, kind of learning. Was that
Hmm.
your experience too? Very
Yeah,
similar? Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, and lots of that. And we did. We learned a lot. We
Yes.
learned a
Yeah.
lot. Hmm.
And I learned I love DBT. I use DBT all the time with my
Mm.
clients. CBT wasn't necessarily for me, but I got a good foundational learning. I still apply some pieces of it into my work with my clients, but DBT I would like really gravitated towards and really thought it could be helpful. And that wasn't even on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
So there, yes, if you know and like have an idea of what you want it to look like, and also if you don't, know that either way you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And like having this openness and not so much pressure on it being like the right modality either.
Yes, that's a good point because I think that though ideally, if we could know that and pick a place that resonates with that, that's fabulous.
Totally.
And then at the same time, I know my experience, and certainly many out there, I think, are you're so focused on just finding a place, um, and hours that work with your life and whatnot that you're like, okay, I'll go here, I'll get it done. They're gonna take me and it will work and I'll get through my 8 months
Hmm.
because we don't always have the luxury and the
Hmm.
privilege of being able to know what we want to be doing for modalities and finding a place that resonates with that in the time frame. And so ideally, but it just doesn't always work that
Yeah.
way. Sometimes we're like, awesome, we've got a place,
Yeah.
let's go. Let's do it.
And it's so funny because I'm thinking like of people listening to this, like what contradicting advice.
Oh, I know.
Half of us is like for part of the conversation, we're like, yes, like, connect with someone who you really resonate with and like the modalities and like, make sure that you're feeling, good in that. And then the other part of this conversation is like, and if that doesn't work out for
Yeah.
whatever reason, know that
Yeah.
you're gonna learn. You're
Well,
gonna learn something.
I love that you brought notice to that because I think that honestly that is just one so much of life and
Yes.
so much of school and practicum and finding a placement is this is ideal. This is what would be lovely if we could do this. Yes, yes, yes.
Hmm.
And then the flip side of that coin is and life doesn't always work that way. And
Totally true.
so we make it work. We do with what we
Yes.
can. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about the modality piece and trying to find, like, ideally finding that connection. And if not, you're going to learn lots regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about the values of the organization, your values, and like really something. And it's hard to know before you step in what you want it to look like or like conceptualize what it is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
But things to be mindful of are like what the required commitment is, right? Like what are they looking for you to put in for in terms of time? Are there any other tasks, learning, admin that is part of it? Is that something you're comfortable with? Or do you want to see that side?
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel like less aligned with you? Being mindful of these pieces as well. And the population that they serve. Oftentimes it's pretty general, as far as I'm familiar with.
I think
But
it's
I
pretty.
do think there
Sorry,
are
go
some
ahead. Yeah.
specific ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, I mean, so those are some very important points to be aware of, that things that even I hadn't really thought of before I
Mhm.
started in practicum. And again, we did a lot of that in our placement, and I
We
learned a
do.
ton. I learned
Hmm.
a ton. And I'd wanted to kind of learn that side of it. So if you're going into private practice or whatnot, it's great to learn that stuff because
Hmm.
there is a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on with that. And if that's something that doesn't fit with the amount of time you've got, that may not be something that's a great fit for you right now.
Hmm.
And I was going somewhere with this and now I don't remember. So
We were
there you
talking
go.
values, and then we were also talking about population
Oh,
served.
yes, population served. Thank
Yeah.
you. So,
Yes.
ours was kind of a more private clinic, and with sliding fee scales and or scaling for intern therapists, which is great.
Hmm.
And at the same time, I think there's lots of people who go into community mental health type of
Hmm.
situations, whether it's virtual or not, and the very different populations typically, right? Who is
Yes.
has the access and the means to pay for therapy versus populations that don't. So
Hmm.
you're also going to get very different, um, yeah, fairly different learning experiences in a
Hmm.
sense. Yeah.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, and I think what I was kind of leaning towards is that yes, demographic wise, population served, and unless it's like a women's victim service organization where you're primarily working with women,
Hmm.
there is this sense of like, yeah, you could have a woman, you could have a man, you could have a child, you could have whomever, and it's not necessarily like in any of the practicums, like one specific thing. Like I'm trying to like I do a lot of postpartum perinatal stuff, right? So like
Hmm.
had I gone into the clinic that I'm working with, I would have known that my population is mostly the perinatal population, mostly those of like affluent, higher socioeconomic status. They're paying for themselves or they've got insurance
Hmm.
in this private clinic. And something more broad, community services, even private practice. Like I saw men, I saw women. I didn't see teens or kids because it's just not an interest of mine. Um, but there's a sense of like you don't always know what you're gonna get,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so even if you think, oh, I really want like, and yes, and maybe you do, I really want to work with the perinatal field. Absolutely, find a clinic that does that. And if you're like, I just kind of want to help people with anxiety, well, you could go to many broad general clinics
Hmm.
that you will have a few clients who are coming in that way and others with other things. I
Hmm.
don't know. Was that a really long-winded way to say like it's hard to tell?
No, I love that. Again, I think this just speaks to the complexity of practicum,
That's true.
finding a placement. It is a lot for those of you out there who are kind of struggling with it or dreading it or confused or super excited about it too. Like that all of those things are real and valid. And I think you make a really good point around if you know that you're interested in a certain presenting issue or population or whatever, and you want to go towards that, great if you can. And again, at the same time, if you're not specifically working with that population or issue or whatever, you are going to learn so much as well. And that is so valuable also to be put into a situation where you have a lot of diverse learning, right? That's also really important. So no matter
Yes.
what, you're going to get some fabulous stuff happening for you.
Thank you for summarizing the madness that was going on in my brain there for a moment. This sense
Chaos,
of
where's your
like,
cup? We're that's how we're rolling
this is
today. It's
it.
all
This
good.
this bunny, this is
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Literally me. Very
Yeah.
chaotic.
Love it. Me too. It's good. That's practicum. Hmm.
Yeah, yes. Panic, then process.
Yeah.
That's what we do first, and then we figure it out.
I
And then
love it.
Karen comes in and saves the day and
No,
tells us exactly what we were trying to say.
love it.
Totally, totally. And so that's a consideration for sure.
Yeah.
What else? What else kind of was a takeaway for you? Did when did you start looking for your practicum? I don't think we talked about that.
I started same quite a while before, just kind of reaching out to places. I reached out to about, so I went onto the Practicum portal at Yorkville
Okay.
and basically took a look through any and all of them that were doing virtual
Mm.
and or any that were close to me, and I sent out 100 million resumes and cover letters to them. I sent
Wow.
a ton, because I
Okay.
I wanted a place, and I knew that with my limitations around where I live and time frame, right, that would be tricky. And I'm just pretty type A nervous about some of that stuff sometimes. I wanted to graduate on time.
Which is hilarious because you just tried to sell us that you were type C, but
I know
anyway.
in some ways, right? Because I'm pretty chill about things too. So that's why I've said type C. Yeah, we're a
Yeah,
mix.
I
We're a
love
mix.
it. Okay, interesting that you went to the portal. Yes, for those who maybe don't know, for Yorkville specifically, there is a portal of approved. Oftentimes, I mean, it changes and you could reach out to the odd person who's like, "Oh, I don't do that anymore." Um, but generally approved practicum sites. Some of them are practicums approved practicum supervisors who will only supervise your work and not necessarily offer you clients. So certainly something to clarify. So we were fortunate in that we joined a clinic that like took on responsibility of getting us clients and also giving us supervision. Whereas some other clinics will say, yeah, we can get you clients, but we don't have supervisor. So you have to pay out of pocket to
Hmm.
get your supervision. Or some of them will say, yeah, I'm a supervisor, but I can't get you clients. So
Hmm.
then you have to either join a clinic or somehow round up your own clients,
Hmm.
which adds another level of trickiness,
Yeah.
stress. It's not
Yeah.
integrated, right? You do have to kind of come to the two sides. Not impossible. I know people who have done it. Um, but certainly something to be aware of too. And so this list, there's a list, a practicum approved list. I never looked at it.
Really?
Never looked at it. No. And
Wow.
I don't even remember how I think, to be honest with you, I think I went to Psychology Today and I
Oh.
searched up supervisors
Hmm.
and then of specific type.
Hmm. Like modality, you mean?
More like vibe.
Okay.
Less modality, more like vibe, like holistic, grounded,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
just kind of like not super clinical, more relational. And so I found a few supervisors and then I corresponded, like looking, correspond, is that the word? I looked at websites and then saw if they took
Mm.
um,
Excellent. Yeah.
practicum students. And so then I reached out to these people and didn't do resumes. I literally just reached out and said, hey, this is me. This is what I'm looking for. I loved your vibe. Like, I feel like this really resonates with me. If you're
Hmm.
interested, get in touch. And then went from there. And truly, I think I reached out to like three or four, got
Wow.
connected with this clinic that ended up dropping me.
Mm.
But that's how I did it at the beginning.
Hmm.
So lots of ways to do it. And not
Yes.
always, because in my head, I was like, oh, all these approved sites. And I might have cross-referenced after the fact, after I'd reached out on the list. But I didn't start there because I was thinking, like, oh, these people would be oversaturated,
Oh yeah, yeah.
bombarded by all
Hmm.
these students. So I went in another route
I
to
love
be.
that. I love that. I think so. I love that you brought that up because I think, again, this is more food for thought for our listeners or people who will be navigating this practicum placement soon. So, of course, the portal is there and lots of information in there, lots of sites. Psychology Today, I never would have thought of that. What a great way to go on and look at places that kind of you think you'll resonate with. And just Googling too, right? I did a
Hmm.
lot of that too, Googling like certain types of as you said, like holistic therapy places or somatic therapy places, and then yeah, check them out. See if they're taking practicum placements, students, or just email them, right?
Hmm.
So I love that. There's so many different ways to do it. And it floors me how different you and I are in our approach to, because yeah, that just I had quite a few interviews and quite a few places that I got to meet and kind of see the feel for. And then towards the end, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take this one because I want to get it done. I want to get signed up. I want to be finished with it. I want to make sure I've got one. So how fascinating, right?
Hmm. I
Yeah.
think I did three interviews. One, like I only did one with the one that took me on and then ended up backing out. And then I did two in between, two interviews in between the time of when they dropped me and when I started. And at that point, again, I was 8 weeks before coming up on the deadline. I took whoever got to me first
Hmm.
and said, yeah, we'll take you on because I wasn't gonna wait on
Hmm.
the other clinic to potentially for them to come back and say no.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And again, that's my fear part. That was like anticipation. That was like, had I taken a breath, it was a day later. And she
Yeah.
ended up emailing me back and being like, is there a reason why you didn't come with us? Like we like to get the feedback, we like to know. And I said, honestly, it was turnaround. The
Hmm.
other clinic got to me yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was just me panicking. And
Yeah.
so something to be mindful for yourself too. And that's why I come back to know your value. Like know that, yes, you're a baby therapist. Yes, you're coming out of school. Yes, you feel like you have lots to learn, and you do. We all do. I still
Hmm.
am.
Still, yeah.
And doesn't mean that you have less value in a space like that. Right? You're still bringing something to them. They wouldn't be doing this if you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you ground yourself in that and choose something that resonates with you?
Yeah. I love that. I think so much of grad school and practicum placement finding is based on a sense of urgency, and all
Yeah,
of our fear parts come up. And we
totally.
just want to make sure that we graduate, that we get in, that we get our hours. There's not necessarily enough time to really self reflect and find a space that we feel beautiful in
Yeah.
if that fear part is taking over and that urgency is there, which is
Yeah.
prevalent in grad school, right? It just
Yeah.
is.
And if I could just put a plug to our imposter syndrome episodes that we put out just recently, that's
Yeah.
part of it. I really do think that it's part of it, right? This whole like, well, I have to, and similarly, it comes up a lot with my clients, which I'm making this connection in like healthcare, right? Like when you go to a medical appointment, like you're the professional, I'm just the patient,
Hmm.
right? And so I'll listen to you. And similarly, when you're
Yeah.
choosing practicum, like, oh, like you've done this, and like you're practicing, and you're a senior clinician, like you know better than I do. And while they have more experience with clients, they may not always have the same level of respect for colleagues. They may not have the same values. They
Hmm.
may not like these things that are important
Hmm.
as you're navigating practicum. And even we're talking practicum, but like also post grad joining
Yes.
clinics if you want to join a group practice. Like this is part of it too. Like, is this a space where I feel supported? Is this a space that aligns with what I want and what I need? Is it a
Yeah.
space that aligns with my values? And sometimes it is just like I just want to come in and do my job and see my patients, my clients and then leave.
Hmm.
Okay, or do I really want to be involved? Do I want to potentially run a workshop? Do I want to be like client facing? Do I want to be on the social media? Do I want to like get creative in that sense? And knowing that for yourself and then aligning with the clinic that works
Hmm.
matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I think so much of the time, that hierarchy,
Mm,
whether it's in healthcare, like medical stuff, or when you're finding a practicum placement, or when you're finding a job later or a supervisor, That's really important because when we put ourselves lower in the hierarchy, it's much easier to just take whatever comes and be
Yes.
treated however and just go
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
So, yes, some supervisors or some places or some practitioners will have more experience and they do have knowledge, 100%, not to
Totally.
take any of that away. And
Hmm.
that's important. And at the same time, we, clients, whatever it is, are the expert in our own lives, our own
Yep.
values, what feels good to us, what our needs are in our life. And
Hmm.
so that has immense value as well.
Hmm.
So I love how you talked about that. I think that's really important. And then the next thing to bridge also what you were talking about later about finding a place is whether it's practicum or whether it's a job place later or even just in your own life and things. Again, somatic therapist here, so this is important. What feels good? You
Mm.
mentioned this. Go inwards. What's your body saying to you? Do you have knots in your stomach? Do you have tense shoulders? Do you have kind of a gut feeling like it's a little bit, eh? Or
Mm.
are you like, yes, this feels safe. I feel
Hmm.
supported. My body relaxes. Sit with it for a little bit. When we're not making those snap judgments or that urgency and fear part is taking over, we're better able to reflect and to make decisions that will be healthier for us for longer, right?
I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm obsessed with that. That is so, and that's Karen as a therapist, everybody. So you know where to find her. Um, that is like, I so resonate with that because, and you walk this line of like intuition, right? Like this,
Mm,
like what, as you get grounded and really kind of consider setting all the other parts aside,
that's right. Slow it
um,
down.
and
Hmm.
also have an awareness of the reality that things can change.
Yeah.
Right? Like in some of my experiences, it started like that. Oh my gosh, what a great fit. Like genuinely, right? Like I've
Yeah.
done a lot of work. I feel like I'm pretty self-aware. Genuinely feels good.
Hmm.
And then over time, there just being a shift, right?
Yeah.
This now
Yeah.
doesn't serve me the way that it did. And again,
Yeah.
harder to do in practicum because there is this sense of like, I'm locked in. Like,
Hmm.
do you want to go through the fuddle muddle of paperwork and having to switch and tell them why and blah 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 blah? Maybe, maybe not, depending on your experience.
Hmm.
And so maybe it is something that's like a hunker down situation, and then just kind of leaning into your like taking time for yourself
Yeah.
and filling your cup and meeting your needs and really being aware of yourself, your energy, because you can't serve your
Yes.
clients if you're not serving yourself.
Yeah.
And like serving yourself is number one.
Hmm.
Um, or is it something that you can make a shift of? Like, you know
Hmm.
what? Yeah, this isn't serving me the way that it once did, and I'm going to pivot.
Hmm. I love that. I think once again, practicum and also applicable to life, jobs,
Totally.
everything. We can jump into things and be like, "Yep, this is great for me. I feel wonderful in this space." And life happens, life changes, people change, situations change. There's always going to be a shift. That's normal. Expect it. And then know, again, like with what you were talking about with radical acceptance earlier, and know in your bones you have the capability, the
Mm,
capacity, and the strength, the inner resilience and trust and safety to be
mm.
able to adapt, be flexible, and move in where you need to go.
Oh
Now,
my
that
God.
being said, practicum, you're right. Sometimes that's not always the way, which maybe, practicum needs to be looked at in all these schools and how that works, because that's a big stressful thing when you're locked into a place. And if it's not a healthy place for you as a person, that's also not great.
Hmm.
And as you said, hunker down, separate your sense of self from what they're putting on you. Or if you need to get out of there, you need to get out of there
Hmm.
and being okay with that. So again, that kind of inner knowing, slowing down, what's going on? What do I need to be doing? I love that. And now I'm
Hmm.
rambling because again, I forgot where I was going with that, but I did have
I
a
love it.
point.
I love it.
It's gone
I
now.
love it. No, I was like, I was locked in, Karen. I was locked in. As I'm sure all of our listeners
Hmm.
are going to be.
Ah, one thing I did want to just mention though too, when we're talking about getting enough direct client hours, because that's
Mm,
a really big stressful thing in
mm,
practicum, is that there are sites across Canada virtually where you can sign up and you can get clients. It's a free service. So there's free Free Counseling Society of Canada, I believe I want to say is one. Um, that's all I can think of off the top of my head. But
There are
Google
a
them.
few. I do know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Mhm. And so you can sign up as a practicum student if your practicum place is not, it doesn't have the enough hours for
Capacity.
you. That's right.
Yeah.
And then you can take clients from there as well. So I like check with your practicum coordinator because they'll know all the things to be doing with that. But yeah, there are ways to get that rather than grabbing a whole other few second sites.
Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
great point.
one
And I
second site.
think, yeah, I was fortunate, and I say we because again, we did the same practicum, fortunate enough to get our hours. And
Hmm.
so we didn't have to explore a second site or kind of bring in this free. They did a really wonderful job in connecting us with clients and getting us our hours and that experience.
Hmm.
So I don't have a ton of experience myself, but certainly have heard of people who had to take on a second site, made it work, or like you said, was able to get just additional clients in their existing practicum
Yeah.
to come to them for like free therapy. Yeah,
Yeah.
great
Absolutely.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing, so then talk to your program coordinator, right? Or practicum coordinator. Hopefully you've got one that you resonate with that you can really reach out to, because
Did you do that?
that's gonna be helpful. Not necessarily about um hours or anything. Like I was doing okay with that, but
Yeah.
just things around deadlines and all that kind of stuff, right? I
Okay.
did. Yeah. So that was
What if
helpful
we had
that
the
way.
same one?
I can't remember her name now.
Was it
Yeah.
Terry?
No,
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 I
I
had
don't think
Terry.
so.
And Terry is was actually a qualifying psychotherapist, and I think she's a psychotherapist real deal now. So that's interesting.
Go Terry.
Yeah, go
Woohoo.
Terry.
Awesome. Well done, Terry.
Love it. We're just here to celebrate the people.
We
That's all.
are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lift each other up. There's room for us all. Hmm.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love your energy.
Ditto.
Um, we are, I don't know, at
Is there,
time, I think. I feel like we're
yeah.
just
Is there anything
chatting.
else about
No,
practicum that we
no,
need?
no,
Check your
thanks.
deadlines. That's important. Check your deadlines.
Yeah, yeah. And that feels, I think in terms of like the non what Yorkville already suggests, like the reading between the lines
Yeah.
there, we've really kind of touched on, right? This
Yeah.
intuition piece, connecting with a practicum that either aligns with modality, aligns with
Yeah.
values, know your worth, know your value in being a student and learning.
Hmm.
Um, assess what feels good and know that you do have choice. It may
Hmm.
feel limiting at times, but you do have choice. There are options. And also, from the beginning of the podcast, connect with people. Connect with shared experiences so you don't feel alone, like you're the
Yeah.
only person to be navigating this. And that's so not true. There's so
Yeah.
many of us. I love to hear from, I just recently got an email from a gal. She's like, I loved your website. I want to go into perinatal work. Like, do you supervise? I was like, you are a wild woman. I do not, but I'd love to connect for a peer kind of chat if you want to. And we're
Fabulous.
set up for Friday. So, like,
Oh, love that.
reach out, connect with people.
Yeah.
Some people will not respond. Some people are not interested in that, and that's
Yeah.
cool.
That's okay.
But put
They're not
yourself
your
out,
people then. Yeah, that's
get
right.
connected. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's where I land on this whole practicum thing.
I love
It's
it.
tough.
It is.
And so
So reach
build the
out.
supports. Yeah,
And we're here too, right? Like we're here for
we
questions
are.
or if you just want to chat about it or you're like, holy heck, man, this is a lot, right?
We
Yeah,
are here.
it's all good. All good. And soon, I know it doesn't feel like it, but soon it will be over and you will be done and you will get through it and it will be finished and you won't have to do practicum again.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Yahoo!
That brings me just such, I was just thinking of when we met at graduation. And
Yeah.
like finding you in the lobby of the hotel and just being like, we made it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
just this like,
Hmm.
you walk across the stage,
Yeah.
connect with people you've never met in person before, if you go to
Hmm.
graduation. Anyways, being done, I just like had this like wave of like, oh, It's
Yeah.
true. It felt in the moment like it would never end, but it does.
Hmm. It's a slog sometimes, it feels like. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but you're also capable of a lot of work and it will end. And there's those of us out here who are here to support. So we're here and
I
you
love
got
it.
this. Yeah.
I love it. I don't think there's a better way to end it.
On that note, it was
All
great to
right.
see everybody.
Toodles.
Bye.